Crypto God here, and today we're with some lovely people, some lovely gentlemen. We got Steven and we got Queen Elizabeth. Now, who are they? Where are they from? What's their coin? Now, what's really funny to me is when I read this on my docket, it said felon, but really it's Elon, so it's Felon. Steven, explain some of this to me, please.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting us to the show, first and foremost.
Of course. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here.
That's a very early morning for me, but I got the coffee together, and I believe this is going to be worth it for me, especially after hearing what you do on your show. But to your question, so Elon, Felon, it was a token that was created around the time that Elon started sending out his messages that started to crash the market. So that would have been about the 11th or 12th of May. There was quite a lot of copycats that come out. And what you would notice out of a fair majority of them, they were either rug pulls or soft rugs that have just went to zero. This one stuck around. Everything's been locked into the community to be able to reinvest in. And there's now a complete roadmap going forward. So this is what's different compared to the other ones in a general sense.
So basically, you guys are the first Elon.
We're claiming that, absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's up to the listeners to do their own research, as we always advocate here, because you got to do your own research. By any means, none of us are financial advisors. Some of us are developers. Some of us run a podcast, but you got to do your own research. And that's why we're here. So you guys at home can research these people so that you can make informed decisions on them. All right. So Steven, tell me a little bit about yourself and why you're involved in this Felon project.
Okay, so just a brief summary. I'm a network engineer by trade. Got into crypto about 3 or 4 years ago. Didn't really have too much success. Come back into the field early this year. DeFi was a thing. Started to research into DeFi. Had a bit of success with SafeMoon. And then once I started to realize how easy it is to launch a coin on DeFi, I started looking at what would be a product people would want to invest in. Now, by chance, I come across this coin to invest in because there was a original development team. They launched this token, and they've since walked away, which I can go on further. But as far as my contribution to becoming a dev in this, I see a lot of potential for growth, literally because Elon Musk always puts his foot in it. He puts his foot in the and everyone gets pissed off with him anytime he tweets, and it starts to cause the market to crash. This is a great opportunity for people to go F you, basically, and actually make some returns on the fact that he sends a tweet out.
Gotcha. So pretty much it's a coin based on spite.
Yeah, well, at this stage, yes, but there's a roadmap to build up some of the foundations so that this becomes something long term.
Right. Well, I love the model of spite building because I have some other YouTube channels, right? And like I say, ran on spite, and then I leave the pause because I think there's going to be an, but there's never an and. It's just spite. You know what I mean? So, but this idea of you have a destructive figure in the crypto community that crashes things whenever he does something, and you're wanting to have Felon as the flagship of every time something bad happens with Elon Musk, they can rally over here.
That's it.
That's a great idea because there needs to be a place for everybody to pool when somebody's being an asshat. Because there's people out there causing FUD. There's people out there just, they're being assholes and they're doing things that are detrimental to the community and making people lose money. And where do we go in those moments? And you guys are saying, hey, I have a boat over here. Get in my boat. Let's load up. This guy. Let's load up.
Yep. And something that we definitely notice when he does tweet, you can look straight at the charts as representative of people's feelings towards him, because the chart goes nuts in a very positive direction when he tweets.
Gotcha.
And then we just get a flood of people that join the Telegram. Now, it's just something that moving forward as developers, we need to make sure that, okay, we've got the meme factor, that's great. And we've got the spite factor, but we need to make this into something that can grow on its own additionally to this added revenue that comes in every time he sends a tweet. That way, people start to see it as a longer term investment, and we can build it into pretty much whatever we want. That's the great thing about crypto.
Gotcha. Now, Queen Elizabeth, I would love to hear about your involvement in this project. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure thing. So I have been into crypto since 2015, but I wasn't investing in it. I was only using it to purchase things online. So silly me, I didn't think of it as a store of value at the time, but it gave me familiarity with the ecosystem. But I was also a Tesla shareholder at around the same time. Both have obviously done well, but recently it's become so transparent that Elon Musk is a malignant force on the entire crypto market. He's probably the single biggest malignant force. And we decided that somebody decided that there had to be a hedge against this. And I wasn't one of the original creators, but when I saw this, I knew that was going to stick around. So I found the first one, or the original, and I bought as much of it as I could. And then I began wanting to build a website for it and other services and uses. So, for example, we have an NFT marketplace that I've been working on for a few weeks, coming up hopefully on Monday. It's going to be on the Binance Smart Chain, and that should have enough. It's going to have fees that are low enough for everybody to participate in. So it's going to be generative pixel art Elons. And Spike can go a long way in marketing, but that's where I involve myself.
Well, that's pretty cool. So you guys are branching into NFTs, which for those at home who don't understand what a non-fungible token is, right? Would you like to explain that to the layperson who doesn't understand what that means?
Sure thing. So a non-fungible token is it's on the blockchain, and it's representative of your ownership of something, whether that's a digital asset. In this case, it's going to be a 100 by 100 pixel art comic drawing of Elon, and each time you can generate one with different items or articles of clothing. And the idea is that it gives the coin a little bit of extra value, a little bit of extra spite value, because you can share them socially on Twitter or wherever, and just show that you support the cause.
You know, it almost like, for a second, if I may, it kind of reminds me of The Sims, you know, with like these little, instead of a bunch of Sims, it's just a bunch of little Elons, and you're dressing them up the way you want. Then you can drown them in the pool, you know. Right.
And the idea is that some are so much rarer than others. For example, maybe the drowning in the pool with a toaster is a 0.1% rarity.
God.
But I'm just throwing something out there. But let's say Elon in jail is a more common collectible, and then the idea is that you can auction them on our marketplace with no fees, and it's all for fun. There's no fees that we collect, but there can be for the ones who buy and sell.
Right. Now, to be clear, for my platform, real fast, I harbor no ill intent towards Elon Musk, and these guys here, they speak for themselves, right? But you know, Absolutely. We're here just providing a balanced view where these guys are coming from and what they're offering. So, but I'm sure, like, truly, you guys don't actually harbor, like, malicious ill intent and want him to drown in a pool, right?
No. I'd like the SEC. I'd like the SEC to take a more serious look into some of the things that he's doing.
Okay. So I just like to create that differential for the people who are not evolved enough to understand that these are jokes, right? These are memes. It's not real life ill intent, because we saw what happened to Kathy Griffin over just making a little thing about Trump a long time ago. Like, we just have to, you know, state what our actual intent is and then claim, you know, hey, this is a joke. It's not a don't take it so fucking hard, please.
Right. We don't want to behead Elon. Exactly.
Right. Now, doing it in digital format, that's comedy. Get over it.
Exactly.
You know, but in reality, though, you know, Spike can go very long ways. Now, you guys are talking about coming up with some utility, right? You got this roadmap coming on. What's the next step of your roadmap?
You want to answer that part, Queen, or do you want me to jump in?
Well, the immediate step is the NFT marketplace, but beyond that, we have farming and pooling coming up soon, staking. That's going to be probably in about 4 weeks. And beyond that, do you want to keep going?
So that's coming up. Depending how things go, as far as when investors come on, it makes it a lot easier for us to diversify. As you know, our ability to go get sort of what you would call subcontractors to come in to help build the community. So obviously, as it grows in market cap, we have more liquidity just ourselves to reinvest back into the platform. But yeah, so farming and staking, that's something that's coming up very soon. The other one that we're going to be looking at is creating of a new investment token. So whether that is a farming and mining sort of thing, that can be linked to major exchanges. So a lot of these, because this is a safe moon fork, a lot of these, they find it hard to be able to list on normal exchanges because they can't do tokenomics. Now, you can list it, but you won't make the ongoing taxes for people buying and selling and trading of the token, where we may be able to do something like the whole pancake and syrup. I'll use PancakeSwap, for example, where we can have a token that's traded on a normal exchange, and this is obviously down the track, but can come back to be a source of value for investors for the original Elon coin, the Elon coin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. You know, and of course, there's always that thing of, well, you guys are some faceless people, right?
Yep.
So how do you instill faith into people when there is a lot of rug pulls out there, when there is a lot of scams out there, when there is a lot of people saying, you could trust me, and then they still f people over? What do you do?
Okay, so first and foremost, both of us had come to this after the contract was developed. So the original devs, they've walked away. Two key things. The liquidity is locked in for a year. The original liquidity is locked in for a year. Everything for that is locked. That's part of the contract. Anybody can go verify that. Second, the ownership of the contract. That's
verifiable, right? So where do the people at home that want to verify it, how do they go through that process to find that verification?
The easiest way is that they can go to bscscan.org, use the contract address for buying Elon, and then you can review the wallets that show the liquidity itself. So there are a few websites out there. I can't, Queen might be able to jump in on this one, that should be able to show you by pasting in the token address where the liquidity is locked. But you can also ask other more informed communities, hey, can you have a look at this just to verify that? So I didn't want to bring this one up, but YOLO, one that I may be a part of, that's their bread and butter, you might as well say. They can verify that type of stuff. Gotcha. So it is publicly available if you're not too familiar, not too technical to be able to review it yourself, because you need to be looking at code as well. By all means, go and ask. The second thing is that the contract itself, being a safe moon fork, this contract also has been renounced. So that means that we can't mint tokens. We can't manipulate any code to do something special. It is what it is. Okay. So that's one of the big differences between people that do dox themselves and do not. If you don't dox yourself, what trust do you have as an investor to be able to choose what you want to invest in? These are two key things. If both those things are locked, then your third thing is looking at, is there major whales sitting in the top 10? In all three of these circumstances, we tick all the boxes for that. We don't have major whales, contracts locked, liquidity's locked.
Gotcha.
We will be doxing ourselves. Yes.
That's a great checklist. All three of those things can be verified on BSC Scan. It's a great resource. And even those who are less technical, you can go on BSC Scan and see the functions or the methods that exist within the contract. You can see how many times they've been called, and it's really pretty simple code. You can see that renounce ownership has been called one time by the original owner, so it's gone forever. You can see on the contract address the locked wallet that contains the PancakeSwap liquidity, the locked wallet that contains the burned coins of half the supply, and so forth. So BSC Scan, it's a great resource, and you can get the link directly to the BSC Scan for our page on elon.xyz.
There we go. Now that's great information for the people at home. When you guys have those kind of answers and you're able to, at least on a very rudimentary level, explain, go to point A, go to point B, go to point C, so you can see these things, I believe full-heartedly that goes a long ways to build credibility with the audience at home that are listening to us right now. Like, that's a big thing. I couldn't
agree more. And the holder percentage is, that's another great thing to look at for any coin that you buy. Ours, nobody owns more than 1%. No single wallet owns more than 1%. It's far different than some of these other coins that launch with non or SafeMoon based forks that they've modified, and we haven't done that. It's a great resource. BSC scan.
BSC scan. Sounds like a phenomenal resource. I had one of my friends walk me through that at one point in the past when he was trying to teach me about, is the liquidity locked? And that's the big thing. That means that the value of the coin is there, right? It's not going to get ripped out, because we had this one issue with a previous guest. We didn't even get to air their interview because a dev wrote a backdoor into the program and stole all the liquidity because it wasn't locked yet.
It's becoming so common these days. And I don't really have anything more to add, but we are not devs, and it's a verifiable SafeMoon fork, but it's really so common, and you have to be so careful nowadays. One of my favorite resources, Bogged Finance on the Binance chain, just got hacked, and they had 30 million in their liquidity taken. It's the Wild West, and you have to be careful. That's why these resources are so valuable.
That's why it's important to do your own research, folks. That's why we can't push that enough. But when gentlemen like these here and developers out there are telling you, do your research, look into us, make your own informed decisions, that makes me feel a lot safer about my personal investments when it comes to those moments. Also, you guys said you had a plan to dox yourself, right?
Yes. So one of the things that we want to do is we need to grow up market cap a bit more, obviously. As that grows up, then we're going to see if we can we've got our white paper done, but a few things we want to make edits to make the website a bit more presentable. Perhaps even do some research into, go get a researching company to come have a look at some of the things that could add value to us as far as we're obviously unique in the Elon space currently, because everyone keeps falling off every time they create a token. But what can we do to compete with other tokens out there?
Yeah, because it's one thing to compete in your own sphere, right? You are looking to compete on the entire crypto sphere, not just on your own little arena of memes of I hate Elon Musk, right?
Yes. So we want to set up a formal AMA. We want to introduce ourselves. We want to add a marketing team, our Telegram moderation team. Obviously, YouTube content. You're one of the best at it from what I've ever seen.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, just having avenues like that so that people, when they invest, they go, "What's next?" Everyone says when Lambo, but from a business point of view, if you're treating this like it's a business, you need to have established format so people can see clearly, top to bottom, what's going on. If you don't do that and you try to hide things, or you're not upfront, or you can't be bothered, people pull out and go for the next thing. It's just human nature. If they don't feel that things are going to grow, why do they want to put their money into you? And that's probably one of the major differences between, say, stocks and other investment avenues. Because everything's at the click of a button, any decision that you make, you want to make sure that you're making an informed one. And this is why we want to go to that part where, doxing's one thing, 100%, but to establish ourselves as a brand, even bigger than just the meme part, we need to have those structures in place for people to review. And that's something that we're going to work upon. And whether we're specialists in it or not, or whether we go outsource certain things so that we can add that content together for the community, we're happy to go ahead and do that. That's one thing that I feel strongly about.
Right. Now that's the tough part, right? When you start your brand off as one thing, which is like Elon Musk, right? And then you realize it's growing and you're like, well, my brand has to evolve a little bit. I have to develop a little bit more utility, things of that nature. That's where it becomes a little bit more difficult, but that's a little while way down the road, right? But what the big thing I focus on with my personal business when I bring on a client, because as you guys know, we've talked about, I do advertising and things of that nature. My goal with my clients is always, well, I'm going to make one change every day that adds permanent value to what I'm doing, because that's sustainable business growth. Because people are like, when Lambo, when are we going to get this big car? Well, I would rather make 1,000 small changes over time that would allow me eventually to have 1,000 fucking Lambos. Not like, well, let's push hard and get this one car now. You know, we have to do stuff to an extent slowly so we can build stability so it doesn't collapse.
Yeah, correct. If you think that once you get to the Lambo purchasing level, that's it. Just have a look how much the things cost to service and run. You'll need about 3 worth to be able to be comfortably owning one. And
right.
As you said, you want to grow it to the point where I can have one, but I can also have 1,000. That doesn't worry me anymore. I probably don't want one anymore, even though I can get one.
Right.
That's what you want.
You know,
I think.
So one idea that we've been toying around with to build some momentum, but like you said, we don't want to grow too quickly if it's not necessary. Well, you'll see why. But one idea is somehow attaching the Tesla share price, shorting it through a synthetics contract on the blockchain, and then having a lottery each week, for example, to provide value to token holders. So if the short is profitable, then the winner of the lottery receives the tokens in BNB value. So that's something that I've looked into. I don't think it's a great idea right now because Tesla's share price only keeps rising. But down the line, that's something that we can absolutely add.
It's an idea. So the idea is pretty much building off of their failure. Is that
the
what
idea
I'm
is
understanding?
It's to be the hedge against Tesla and Elon Musk's market influence. Like you said, each time they say anything negative about Bitcoin, it sends the entire market tanking. So people need a place to rush to.
Right. And that's a hard thing, man. That's a hard thing. You guys have quite the challenge ahead of you. But if you figure out all the nooks and crannies necessary for it to succeed by making the small, incremental, stable decisions, I don't see why you guys can't succeed, because you're going to make smart, incremental decisions to bolster that stability. Because I think that's the big thing that the entire crypto sphere is begging for. They're looking for some stability, man.
I agree 100%. I mean, everyone can look back at the success of SafeMoon and over the last 2 months, and I think they're on the Khalifa, they're in New York's at Times Square there, they're driving around Bourbon Street. They've got all this advertisement and all this type of stuff going on, so they've got plenty of money. But at this stage, with the market crashed, everyone would be looking at it going, well, what's next? And this is where some of the smaller tokens, definitely this one, we can learn not necessarily by their mistakes, but what they're not doing to be able to sell ourselves better, particularly during a market crash or a market reset or whatever you want to call this little bit of downtime at the moment.
Right. I think people right now, there's a lot of discouragement, right? Because I don't know about you, but I lost a lot of money when things went down.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all did. The more money you had, the more money you lost. And I think everybody's just, they're on different pages. Nobody's properly communicating on rebuilding up. And that is the beauty of all these new startups. They're trying to provide a solution. So I think, honestly, as long as you guys follow through on your guys' word and you communicate that clearly to the public, and there's no deception or subversion, which I'm not sensing any, right? Then I think you guys will be successful. That is the big thing. Like, you guys just follow your roadmap and deliver and put your communities first, man. There's no way you guys will fucking fail. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing these other coins out there. They're failing because they're not delivering on their promises, right? Or they're a rug pull. But as long as you guys follow through, you know, the moon's the limit, you know?
I couldn't agree more. Sorry about my dog.
It's fine. But I see big things for Elon. I see if you guys just deliver on these notes, people, this is the thing. If I can say anything to anybody at home, stop being so impatient with your developers. Stop trying to say, I want Lambo now. Why not just sit back and be comfortable and let them do their jobs so that they can make you successful? Give them some time to do the good work that will make you money, because that's what it seems like Elon's trying to do. So don't rush them. Give them time to do the good work.
Can I say one last thing as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I discussed this with you, but it's just one of these things that we wanted to announce, particularly on this podcast, is that, and we see it very much likely after this podcast, given what I've seen on a lot of your YouTube interviews, we're actually giving a 10 BNB giveaway.
Woo!
Me as a developer for the biggest shiller of our tokens, so getting it out there, all platforms, letting everybody know about it once we hit a 10 million market cap. We previously hit an all-time high of 7.2. We're down a bit because of what's happened in the market, but I put that on the table and said 10 BNB straight off the bat. If we get there, put it into the Telegram what you've done. We'll put it up to a vote for everyone in the Telegram to make a decision.
Well, all I gotta say is if you're competing with me, you're competing to lose. Because I come in guns
by all
blazing,
means,
baby.
I personally think you'll be the biggest one, and I'm more than happy to sort that out. But the point being is, if you can do that, it brings in the audience, and then we can showcase our product. Why you want to stay with us.
But by all means, everybody, you can try to compete with me. Please do. Please do. Please try to compete with me. Let's see Elon hit the moon, because I think...
Or they can work with you.
Or they could work with me. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I'm just saying, I'm damn good at what I do. You might see this YouTube channel. You don't realize this is a very small portion of my network. I'm talking to Steven about my network. Steven, my network's grown since I talked to you last, by the way.
I've noticed. Well, I noticed now that you're on YouTube, I use YouTube Music, not Spotify, but you've got your avenues everywhere, and it just keeps going nuts.
Yeah, I'm a little bit everywhere, man. I'm a little bit everywhere. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. One of the channels that I have in my network has grown by almost 18. Like, it's 17,577 last 28 days. Just one of my avenues. It's nuts. It's nuts what we're doing here on the team. But with that being said, it's been a great time having you guys. Absolutely. Now, you guys can get their information in the description below. Now, when I say that, going to Spotify and stuff like that isn't as effective to get all the information as dropping over to the YouTube channel. So, with that being said, you got to remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with all of your friends, and ring the bell so you can get all that information as it comes out. Because we've got new developers for new coins all the time, so you could do your own research and maybe get your opportunity to go 1000x. How does that sound? I think that sounds like money to me. Now, all that's left to say is the best piece of advice anybody can ever give you, despite me not being a financial advisor, and that's hold that.